tell you, when my sister went down and found herself and they were telling her.
Woo! All right, continue. Hello, everyone. This meeting is called to order. This is a meeting of the Lincoln Heights Neighborhood Council. This is a general board and stakeholder meeting. The date is February 3rd. It's Thursday. It's 6:03 p.m. Madam Secretary, roll call, please.
Sarah Clendenning,
Present.
Ben Wadsworth,
Present.
Vincent Chente Montalvo,
Present.
Fernanda Sanchez, present. Nancy Soto,
Present.
Benny Madera,
Present.
Didia Delizer,
Present.
Joanna Iraeta,
Present.
Diana Tran, Annalie Har, Melanie Balomo Shiflet,
Here.
Victor Asanedo,
Present.
Diego Zapata, I'm sorry, Diego Zapata,
Present.
Gil Arevalo,
Present.
Richard Ortiz, Steve Lucero,
Present.
Selena Ortega.
Present.
All right, then we have quorum. Next, we will move on to item number 3, non-agenda public comments, 2 minutes per person. If there's anybody from the public who wishes to comment on an item not on the agenda, please raise your hand or press *9.
We're doing public comment first, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let me just put the time on. Okay. So Jessica Swan. Jessica Swan, if you can unmute yourself. I see your hand up.
No? Okay. Hi. Yeah, it just went and I just unmuted. Thank you so much. Again, this is Jessica Swan. I am the public participation specialist for the Department of Toxic Substances Control. I work on the Avenue 34 project as well as other projects in the area. And so I just wanted to come here tonight. I know the other evening I came out and said we were having a workshop on February 9th. We actually have to postpone that workshop. Hopefully you all have received my email and mail, but I just wanted to again announce that here in case anybody missed it.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you. Any other public comments? Please press *9 or raise your hand. These are for non-agenda items.
I don't see any more.
Okay.
But Annalie does have her hand up, but I just want to see Annalie.
Well, that's for
Yeah, it keeps on bumping me out. I've had to log back in now like 4 times. So I just don't know if hopefully it doesn't continue to do it. I don't know if anybody else has ever had that problem. I've never had that problem, but
okay.
I don't know. Anyways, so if it happens again, I'll log back in. I missed roll call because it bumped me out. So anyways, all right, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Annalie. We'll keep our eyes peeled. Okay, so we'll move on to item number 4, community and board announcements. Now, if there's anybody from the community who has an announcement, you have 2 minutes to make your announcement. Please press *9 or raise your hand.
Okay, we have one.
Okay.
Okay. Loose.
Yes. Oh, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Hi, everyone. My name is Luz Flores. I'm a field director or field lead for Unices Hernandez. She's currently running for LA City Council in District 1, and we're just here to invite you all to join our campaign and to phone bank with us and get to know Unices and her platform. She's a Highland Park native. She's been she grew up in Highland Park she's been in Highland Park for more than 30 years. I personally know her through Justice LA, and she helped past Measure J, which I was also a part of, and we worked together. So she's a great candidate. She's running against Cedillo, which is your district currently. And yeah, I just wanted to stop by and introduce myself and introduce her campaign.
Thank you, Luz.
Thank you, Liz.
No problem. Is there like somewhere I could drop maybe a link for people to sign up to volunteer or to like get more information?
We don't have our chat. They don't let us do it because of the like political thing that's going on. But
Okay.
let me look into it to see if there's a way we can disperse it, or we may even have a candidates form where that can be done.
Oh, yeah, I believe there was one that is being put together. So yeah, like if you go to the website, folks can sign up to volunteer and do some door knocking
Luz,
as
if
well.
you can
and
give
vote them.
your email out, that would help a lot.
Okay, yeah, it's LUZ Luz at unicesforthepeople.org.
Thank you, Luz.
No
Thank you.
problem. Thank you all. I appreciate the time.
Thank you. Okay, any other community announcements? Please raise your hand or press *9.
I see no more community announcement.
Okay, any board member announcements?
We do have a board member announcement. Diego.
Hi, thank you, Vincent. I just wanted to plug something from the Lincoln Heights Art Youth Center. They are still accepting youth to sign up for their virtual classes. They started January 31st, but it's still not too late to sign up. They have classes that range from poetry to knitting, musical theater, mixed media art, all kinds of stuff. And so if you know any youth who is really interested in the arts, I really encourage you to apply. It's free of charge and it's over Zoom. And if you need any information, feel free to look at their Instagram at dca.lhyac, and they'll connect you. And then lastly, I also wanted to give an update. I know a few community members approached me about a tree that was cut down at the Lincoln Heights Recreation Center. And so I contacted Anthony Bagneries, who is the supervisor for our area of Rec and Parks. And essentially, the reason why they cut it down is because they are preparing to construct a new synthetic soccer field with lighting and bleachers, and they're adding a pathway and making the parking ADA compliant. So I just wanted to let the community know that that's the reason why it was cut down. It's because they are looking to add more amenities to the recreation center. Thank you.
Thank you, Diego.
Thank you, Diego. Any other board member announcements?
We have no more board member announcements.
I have,
Yeah,
sorry,
just one. Fernanda.
Fernando?
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to remind the community that you can still apply for the rent relief program at housing.california.gov. You can apply for any rent debt that you have, and you can also apply for future months. And they also cover any utility bill debt that you have. The website again is housing.ca.gov.
Great, thank you,
Thank you,
Fernanda. Diana has an announcement?
I know I didn't see Diana.
Oh, I see her hand up. Diana?
Let me see. Oh, maybe because she has to come over.
Oh, okay, let's move her over.
Diana, do you have your hand up to come over?
Hi, I have my hand up. I was raising my hand to come over, but I do want to say Happy Lunar New Year.
Yay! Happy Lunar New
Happy
Year.
Lunar New Year.
Don't have a choice.
Yay. All right, I have an announcement. I have two announcements. So the city of LA is awarding $25 million in small business grants. The deadline is to apply is February 7th. It's the comeback checks program. Let's see. Yeah, so any small business in LA can apply for a grant of $5,000. Go to ewddlacity.com. That's the website. And then the other one is Friday, February 4th. There will be a free produce giveaway, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at 161 South Avenue 24, 90031. That's at Healing Urban Barrios. So that is this Friday. That's tomorrow, February 4th. Free produce. All right. Any other board member announcements?
Nope, I don't see any.
So next we'll move on to item number 5, government reports, 2 minutes per person. If there's anybody, a representative from a government office, please raise your hand or push *9.
Okay, our first one is Wendy C.
Hi, happy Thursday. This is Wendy Castro from Mayor Eric Garcetti's office. I have a couple of updates, some of which y'all have already shared. So thank you so much for sharing those and keeping the community abreast of like all of the events that are happening. So the first one, reiterate again, rental assistance program is still available and open to new applicants experiencing financial insecurity due to COVID-19. You can apply at housingiskey.org. The next one is the Metro Life program. So the Metro's low-income fare is easy. It's a program that offers free 90-day passes and fare discounts. Metro also has discounted fares for students, seniors, folks with disabilities, and more. To apply for the Life program online, visit tap2go.net website and click on discounts. My next one is in regards to COVID-19 updates. So the first one is you can get your free COVID test mailed to your home by visiting covidtest.gov. This is from the federal government. Every home in the US is eligible to order 4 at-home COVID-19 tests. The tests are completely free to order via phone at 1-800-232-0233, and English, Spanish, and more than 150 other languages are available. There are actually dedicated phone lines operating from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week. My next update is in regards to verifying a testing site. There have been a lot of fake pop-up COVID testing sites, although they may still perform that free COVID test that, you know, all of us are trying to get. Please be aware that many of the pop-ups are in place to try to steal your personal information, and then you will become a victim of identity theft, which is awful. You can visit the California State's test site listings at covid19.ca.gov. I'm going to repeat that, covid19.ca.gov, and click on testing. Then how do I get tested to find actual licensed testing sites throughout California. If you encounter a non-licensed testing site, either outside of someone's home or maybe outside of a business location that you've never seen before and it's not listed on this map, you can contact local authorities to report, and they will come out to shut down the testing site. You can also reach out to the district council office and report the non-licensed testing site, and they will also take care of coming out and shutting it down. Couple more updates from my end. Comeback checks, round 3. This is round 3 of them for the comeback checks. They open on Monday, January 24th. It offers $5,000 grants that do not have to be paid back to small businesses. 5,000 small businesses that are located or operate in the city of Los Angeles. It does close on Friday, February 7th. There are a few documents that have to be uploaded. So for small businesses, don't wait till, you know, like 11:59 p.m. to start the application or 11 p.m. to start the application, just so that you know ahead of time what you have to update. You can get information on that at comebackchecksla.com. The Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority has rescheduled the homeless count, which was postponed to the increase in COVID-19 case rates. It will now be scheduled for February 22nd through 24th. There is a virtual 1-hour training that volunteers need to complete in order to participate. You can sign up at theycountwillyou.org. My last update is that the Mayor's Office of Sustainability and Neighborhood Council Sustainability Alliance are going to be hosting informational presentations at the end of the month of February that are going to be open to all Neighborhood Council board members interested in leading green initiatives in your own neighborhood that will uphold the Paris Climate Agreement. I will be emailing the board additional information as the dates become available on my end, since I'm going to be leading these efforts. And everything that I just shared right now, I'm also going to email to the whole board with links so that all of you have access to that information and can pass it along as you see necessary. And that is all for me. Any questions?
Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Jose. I think they can. Okay.
All right, thank you. My name is Jose Galvanis with the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment, just providing updates for the board. So the department was having some technical issues with the adempowerly.org emails. This past month, it started around January 20th, lasted until January 28th. So any emails that were sent out to communications or rosters@adempowerly.org might not have been received by the department, and also like any emails that were sent to the neighborhood councils, Adempowerly LA emails weren't going through. So if you sent anything, please make sure to send it out to those emails again, especially for any board members that are having some technical issues with the login, with assistance with Cornerstone. In order to complete trainings, please make sure to just communicate again over when you can, and you should be receiving a response from the admin staff in order to reset your Cornerstone credentials or assist you with any technical issues you may come across with the training portal. Also, just a reminder, bylaws amendments deadline is April 1st. If the board is considering making any amendments to its bylaws, please make sure to do so in agendizing it and sending in the bylaw amendments form along with the amendments that the board had approved. Digital media communications and social policy, it's being considered at our bunk. It's going to be considered a bunk meeting in March. So please provide your feedback, inputs, community impact statements related to the policies so that the commissioners can hear what the concerns are from the neighborhood council. And again, please reach out if you have any questions. Please, yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Jose. Oh, okay. Our next speaker is Emma Howard.
Hello, good evening, everybody. This is Emma Howard. I am the planning director for Councilmember De Leon. And I just wanted to say hello and introduce myself. I'll be here to listen to your discussion of the Gate Street project. But additionally, I just wanted to say hello to the board and to the community and just note that, you know, our office is very excited to be here working with you in Lincoln Heights as of the new district boundaries. Two very, very short top of the hour announcements. I heard somebody mention applying for rent relief and that application still being open. One thing I'd also note is that our tenants' rights advocates are advising us that folks should apply because it will help you document if you ever run into any landlord issues. So even if you're not sure if you're eligible, definitely apply if you're having any landlord issues. It might help in your documentation and affirmative defense. And then secondly, our office is looking for 2 members to serve on the what are they called? The Community Forestry Advisory Committee, CFAC. This is a group of advisors to the city on policy for trees. So if you're an environmentalist and you care about trees, we do need representatives from Council District 14, and you can contact me. My email address is emma.howard@lacity.gov, sorry, lacity.org. So emma.howard@lacity.org. And then I'll just be here to listen to your planning cases. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Emma. Okay, our next speaker is Cynthia Cruz.
Hi, everyone. I'm Cynthia Cruz from Councilmember Kevin De Leon's office. Thank you, Emma, for being here. I have a couple of updates from our office. First off, I want to mention the Union Pacific. Just want to remind you guys that and let you guys know that we're constantly reaching out, making sure that UP keeps maintaining their tracks clean. We've also been doing our due diligence and sending our LACC cleaning crew out to the city side. So all along Alhambra Avenue and Valley, they've been going out there and targeting a lot of the massive trash and illegal dumping and just all the debris on the city side. And we're also working to see how we can just improve that area overall with some added lighting. So that's something that we're working on. And also wanted to mention that we're working with SC to bring mobile showers to Lincoln Park. So that's in the works. It should be happening pretty soon. The mobile shower will be stationed. Well, the service provider will be LAVAME. They'll be stationed right where the testing site is currently. So right off of Valley. And as soon as we have the flyer for that, I can share that with you guys. So you guys can have that and just refer anyone that you guys might know can use of that service. We are also having a Lincoln Heights community cleanup on Saturday, February 26th, in partnership with SEA and Healing Urban Barrios. I have the flyer for that, so I'll share that with Sarah, and then she can pass that to the rest of the board. I did have a question. Do you guys have a beautification committee or something, a committee of that sort?
That would be our sustainability committee.
Sustainability. Okay, so I'll share it with you, Sarah, and then if you want to share it with them too. And again, just to remind you guys, we do have our cleaning crew. They're out here 3 times a week. So if you guys have any locations that need need attention, we can definitely send them so that they can address that. And that's it.
Thank you. Sarah, I see no more government officials. Sarah, we can't hear you. Mike.
Gosh, if any committees have any announcements, we're at item number 6. Please make your announcement.
Yeah, we can ask them to raise their hand if they have committee announcements. So, Anna Lee.
Yeah, we are planning on an outreach meeting. So we're just trying to figure out the day right now with everybody, and it should be within the meeting itself, hopefully within the next week maximum too. So keep you posted on that.
Okay, our next speaker, Selena Ortega.
Hi, hello everyone. The Elections Committee is going to be meeting again on February 11th at 6 p.m. That's a Friday. So I hope some of you can make it. I also just wanted to announce to any of our city and government officials or representatives who are here. I'm also the chair for the City and Government Liaison Committee. So if anybody needs to get in contact with me, my email is Selena, SELENA.LHNC@gmail.com. And that is it.
Thank you, Selena. And then I'll make a short announcement. The Sustainability Committee met, and we had our first successful meeting with Diego and all the other board members, and it was a smooth meeting, and we got a couple of things accomplished. But if you want to reach out to us at our sustainability, you can do so by emailing me at Vincent, VINCENT, the letter M, .LHNC@gmail.com. And Diego, I don't know if you want to give out your email.
Sure, it's Diego Zapata, DIEGO, wow, ZAPATA .LHNC@gmail.com.
Cool. And just so everybody knows, we have stakeholder seats available on all of these committees. So if anybody from the public wants to join a committee, just
Oh, and just one more short announcement from the Sustainability Committee. We want to congratulate, I'm forgetting her name right now, just shot me in the head. Joanna. She joined our committee this last meeting, so we're hoping to see her at our next meeting.
Yay. Yay. All right, excellent. So we will move on to the next item. Wait, do we have an attendees stand up? Okay.
We have no more of the
So,
board
yeah, we'll move on to item number 7, Sustainability Committee. Vince, you want to go for it? Or Diego?
Okay, yeah, sustainability. This is the Sustainability Committee took up the Raul Morin Memorial Square, And the presenter couldn't present at the time, and the letter was time sensitive. So we do have a presenter today. And I believe the name is Sophie Quinones. So we'll let them do the presentation, and then we can make a motion and then do the Q&A.
And we have the draft letter on our website there as a supporting document. And then Vince, can you get the timer or do the time?
Hello, Sophie?
Yes, you can hear me?
Yes. Are you gonna need a screen share, or will the presentation just be done verbally?
Verbally, it's fine.
Okay, sounds good. Okay.
Okay, can I start? Con el permiso de mis antepasados, yo pido la palabra. My name is Sofia Quinones, and I'm here representing the Boyle Heights East Los Angeles Coalition to denounce the city's violent actions against our community. There were memorials built in the historical corridor of Cinco Puntos. That memorial was built and dedicated to our ancestors by La Colonia Mexicana. After our men and women went and served in World War II. Our men and women died, gave their lives for this country, and that particular memorial was placed there for a reason. As our men and women were fighting Nazi Germany to deal with the fascism and the racism that was existing overseas, they did so sacrificing their lives, not being able to vote. So that intersection deals with the first lines of segregation, where the city of Los Angeles excluded a large number, not only Mexican Americans, all of East Los Angeles from participating in the city. So we see it as a voting rights issue. And the city has failed to meet with our coalition and the Raul Morin family. And so shortly after La Colonia Mexicana dedicated those memorials, it was a very historical time. Prior to that, we had the repatriation, we had the U.S. sanctioned attacks on our community that displaced people from La Loma, Bishop, Palo Verde, Los Angeles. We were beaten, brutalized, and that came. We responded as a people, and we elected Edward Roybal. Shortly after that, Edward Roybal's election was, his election, it was very important. Raul Morin helped Edward Roybal get elected and went out and did massive campaigning. So Raul Morin also, he founded the American Legion VFW, the GI Forum, not only in East Los Angeles, but throughout the state of California. Mr. Morin earned medals of honor. He got the Purple Heart. He earned also the Bronze Star and the Combat Infantry Badge. His son is working with us. That is Eddie Morin, who also wrote, both sons are military. Both men wrote books. One wrote Amongst the Valiant, historical book. Lyndon Johnson wrote the intro to that book. Also, Mr. Morin wrote Valor and Discord, Mexican Americans and in the Vietnam War. So the city is trying to change the narrative, trying and they're doing this as they're trying to build a roundabout. And I think this is very important, not only for our area, but for the entire country. To us, this is also, not only is it an issue of cultural genocide, this is also an issue of environmental racism, because these roundabouts are being popped up everywhere and they're circumventing CEQA, and they have found a loophole to build them. And sometimes we have smaller roundabouts and they don't meet the car threshold. So they found the loophole of saying they're going to slow down traffic. There's accidents. That's the loophole. And so we're asking two things. We're also asking for the county to extend the climate action plan, because they're going to put in all these roundabouts that are actually causing problems without replacing the infrastructure. And to put this in an area where we already have over 8 million cars traveling through our communities of East Los Angeles and the East LA interchange, where our people are dying because of Exide and other carcinogenic chemicals that are affecting us, to have more congestion. We've died, they're killing us, and this will continue to harm our people. So I also want to mention that Eddie Morin is a resident of Lincoln Heights, that a lot of members of Lincoln Heights are also who served, participated in our ceremonies at Cinco Puntos. This will also impact the Evergreen Memorial Cemetery, and a lot of your residents in Lincoln Heights are buried there. And we've also had issues with them potentially excavating in and around the area, and that too has issues because that cemetery has a lot of individuals who were buried there during a time where there were not the same boundaries that we have now. And if they come across human remains, those human remains can put. One thing is that to us is, just sacrilegious that they would, dig anywhere near the cemetery, but that those remains may pose a health risk because people died of the whooping cough, Spanish flu, tuberculosis. And I'm currently trying to get some assistance, and the city and the elected officials haven't helped us. Then I think that's the difference. Those of us that live in East Los Angeles, we're still treated like second-class citizens, and we don't have Plum. We don't have the same agencies to come up and address these issues. And I think that's an important thing that we're also we don't get to discuss because, even trying to participate in trying to go to the Board of Public Works hearings, we've been censored. The phones have been hung up on us. My testimony that was entered into the chat room, the city attorney publicly and the Board of Public Works said strike that all the testimony from the public record. So I have to file complaints with the district attorney's office because there's just this push to go ahead and push through this $21 million project that was conceived originally under the MTA. And that to us is unacceptable. Why is the MTA even dealing with roundabouts? And fast forward now they're saying it's a Department of Public Works project when that was in its inception. And when they created that first project, it was done behind closed doors. And we tried to meet with Kevin DeLeon, and we wanted to meet with him specifically. He in my face said he would meet with us. And we told him we didn't want to meet with any of his staff. And I think this is very important because he kept on the individual, Mr. Hayward, who was leading the project under Jose Huizar. When we were trying to participate, going to selective closed doors meetings, Mr. Eddie Murin, I attended a meeting with him. They slammed the door on his face. And I had to hold my foot up to say, you know what, this is against the law. You're violating the Brown Act. And at one point, Mr. Huizar said, the project's over. And we found out about it because we saw an article in the LA Times that it was moving forward regarding La Gloria Mexican food. That too has had its controversies. It's all in the same corridor. But when people look about what's going on with the roundabout, they won't find it because it's under La Gloria Mexican food. They have to use eminent domain to take that property. And in order to build this roundabout that does not meet roundabout standards. And that's the loophole. And the engineers that were involved need to be held accountable because it doesn't meet the standards, and it will threaten not only the health of our community because of the congestion, but the pedestrians. The pedestrians, not only in this proposed circle, but the other circles in the neighborhood have almost gotten hit, and there's been accidents because those roundabouts are also built wrong. And now they're going to have to do the change order to fix them, another cha-ching form of, exploitation of the public purse and the environment. So there's a lot of things going on with this project, but all I have to say is that we stand with the Morin family. We support the Morin family. They have done so much for our country, and for them to be denied a meeting with the mayor is unacceptable. For the coalition to be denied a meeting with Kevin DeLeon is also unacceptable. We reached out, and it's been very difficult. So we came to the neighborhood council because we attended a hearing, a meet and greet with Mr. Congressman Jimmy Gomez, and I ran into the president and soldiers, and they immediately started signing our petition. And we went on the ground and did our petition, and we got over 6,000, and we had to pull back because of COVID, and I myself caught COVID. And it's also become a very, very contentious issue. There's been some conflicts, and even on November 11th, there was conflict on the ground, and Mr. DeLeon's staff got involved in an altercation. They put someone it was just horrible. They had the ROTC come and try and block us. And so I had to file 2 complaints on elder abuse regarding that. And it's just, those are a lot of things that are happening, but a staff person from an elected official's office shouldn't order minors to come and intercede and try and block people who are just standing in protest saying, do not, to protect our Mexican and Mexican American military monuments. And I say Mexican because in World War II, there was 350,000 of our people that were drafted, and over 150,000 of them were undocumented. Same thing for Korea. And even to this day, a lot of our people that are undocumented are serving, have served, and that's why, and these monuments are dedicated to descendants of people of Mexican descent. So we have a large Mexican American population in Lincoln Heights. We hope you stand with us, because this is a very important battle. It's not only a cultural issue, it's an environmental issue, but it also talks about the lines of segregation and our voting rights.
Okay,
And
we're gonna make a motion on it
okay,
to move it, and then we'll ask for the board's Q&A in public if they have any questions for it.
sure, no problem.
And we can put it up and move forward, so we can just make it solid right now.
Thank you.
Right now, I'd like to make the motion to accept the letter as written for the Raul Morin Memorial Square in support of what Sophie was talking about. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Ben seconds. So board discussion, if there's any questions that you have regarding the Raul Morin Memorial, you can ask Sophie right now. And if we can try to keep our responses and questions, direct and short, so we can make it through. You can do so by raising your hand. Okay, I see Fernanda.
I just really quickly want to say thank you, Sophia, for all of your work and for bringing this forward. Thank you for letting the community know what's actually going on and expressing what your experience was when trying to address these issues. I think that a lot of people in the community can relate to not having that access to communicate with the people directly in charge. So I really want to thank you for bringing this forward.
Thank
Any
you.
other board member? Okay, I see no more for board discussion. We should open it up to the public before we make our vote. Is there anybody in the, oh, hold on one second. Melanie?
Yeah, sorry, I got my hand up a little late there. Sorry, my camera's off. I'm putting a child to sleep, but thank you so much for being here and for bringing this to our attention. And I hope that we can help you in any way possible. I am wondering if the representative from De Leon's office could speak to some of the issues that were brought up. I don't know if this is the right forum for it, but, or at least, make some kind of, I don't know, promise to address the issues that were brought up tonight. Just as we now are going to be part of CD14, parts of Lincoln Heights. I would like to see that addressed. From what I've heard, that it's really unacceptable. So I'd love to hear some kind of comment from their office about that.
Thank you.
And just to add on to what Melanie was talking about right now, and one part of our letter, the council's requesting that any agency, whether county, state, set meetings up with the groups that Sophia is part of, to give them that opportunity. So we're definitely asking them out, and I think that the representatives from the CD13, CD14, we can ask them if they can address it, and they're hearing it right here and now. If we get enough votes to support the letter. Our next speaker is Benny. Benny?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay. No, I also want to thank Sophia for coming and speaking to us in regards to this important issue. I think, regardless of how you feel about war, the fact remains that, hundreds of thousands of folks of Mexican descent, served in the war. And so many, in fact, that I remember in my studies, learning that a third of the Congressional Medals of Honor were won by Mexican Americans. And looking at the numbers that Sophia put out, I'm sure many of them were Mexican, right? Undocumented. And so it's very important that the historical record stays and does not get whitewashed into some, I guess, a general war monument. I mean, so I wanted to just speak in support of this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Benny. Okay, Deanna?
Hello. So as a youth representative, as somebody who took AP US history last year, I'm so sorry for the noise, by the way. It is so disheartening to see that this history is being erased. Like, and my teacher, right? He made sure that we learned about the people of color side of the American history that we were learning, and just to hear about this, it's so close to home about it being like erased. It's so sad and horrible. Like, I'm sure my classmates would love to like learn about this, but like people are trying to erase it. I mean, the city's trying to erase it for what?
Thank you, Deanna. I see no more.
Any public questions?
Yeah, now we're going to the public. If the public has any question on the item or a comment, you can do so by pushing *9 or using your little yellow hand icon. I don't see any.
Okay, so with that, we'll go for a vote. Madam Secretary?
1 second, we had one person raise their hand. 1 second. Okay. The number ending in 134.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello? Okay, my name is Gloria Morin. I'm a sister-in-law to Eddie Morin, and my father-in-law did a lot of research after he came home from the war and was treated with discrimination. He couldn't buy a home because he was Mexican-American, and he went to court. He won his case, and he was able to buy a home in Monterey Park. And then he started a bunch of community organizations to help the soldiers and to help the community. He helped Roy Ball. He helped different other politicians that were Hispanic become to get into their services and to help the community. And it's sad because his monument's been neglected. They cut the funding to keep up the monument, to keep it nice and everything, and it's needed. The roundabout, I have one put in my neighborhood, which is a hazard. We had to call back the lady who was in charge that put it in, and she had to sit there a week in her car and see how it was a hazard, and then she had to paint the curb on the south side like 20 feet so nobody would park there, so you could see the traffic coming and not get hit when you're trying to cross, because you wouldn't be able to cross. You had to actually make like a U, go north and then go west and then go south just to go around the block to cross the street before you could just go directly across. So they're not safe. And we didn't need a roundabout. What we needed, because we're between two schools, were speed bumps. If they had put speed bumps, that would have been safer. But my father-in-law's memorial and the Veterans Memorial had been sadly neglected, and his history, he has, the whole family has a really great history of how they came to the United States, how they came to California, how they worked hard, and how they helped in the community. And it's sad that, like you say, they want to erase everything, and they don't even ask the community what the community wants. And that's what really hurts and what's really sad. So we're trying to fight and keep our Mr. Raul's monument. We're trying to keep it because that is part of the community and the history.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have another speaker, Nadine Diaz.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak briefly. My name is Dr. Nadine Diaz, and I'm a fourth generation stakeholder and property owner in Boyle Heights, East LA. And I live approximately a half a block from the monument. I grew up in the community, and I just want to mention this is pivotal in maintaining and preserving our history for our children, our families, throughout Los Angeles, the city of Los Angeles. And I want to commend the Lincoln Heights Neighborhood Council for your leadership, for your intelligence, for your representation of our city. You mean a lot to us. We are together in solidarity in support of the Morin family and all of the representatives and the military men and women who served in this country. This is another backroom deal that has been going on for years. Again, no one was ever notified of this transition of trying to not transition, but this basically a crooked operation on the backs of our people. And I definitely, for the record, I want to state for the record that Miss Quiñones's life has been in danger, and she didn't echo that. And without her time and energy in communicating with all the electeds and the departments and being very diligent, she has been threatened. And if anything happens to her, it will not be tolerated throughout this city. We will rise to the occasion on behalf of the Morin family and on behalf of my sister, Sofia Quiñones. Thank you so much. This really means a lot to us. Really, it truly, truly does. And be safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Nadine.
Okay, we have no more public comment, Sarah.
With that, we'll take it for a vote, right? Madam Secretary?
Again, the vote is to support the letter. Ben Wadsworth,
Yes.
Vincent Chente Montalvo,
Definitely yes.
Fernanda Sanchez, absolutely yes. Benny Madera,
Yes.
Didia Delizer,
Yes.
Joanna Iraeta,
Yes.
Diana Tran,
Yeah.
Annalie Har,
Yes.
Melanie Bolamos Shiflet,
Simon, yes.
Victor Asanedo,
Yes.
Diego Zapata,
Yes.
Gil Arevalo, Steve Lucero,
I don't know if you heard my vote. This is Gil Arvell. I voted yes. I noticed I was on mute.
okay, thank you. Steve Lucero, and Selena Ortega.
Oh, and me.
Yes.
And Sarah, yes, too.
And Sarah, I haven't gotten to you. Sarah Clendenning, yes, that's 15 yeses, motion carries.
Motion carries.
Hey, what about Soto?
Oh,
Nancy Soto, I'm so sorry. For the
Oh.
record.
Most definitely, yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries.
And I just want to thank Sophie, and we hope that this letter helps you guys out the best. And like they always said, our doors open to see how we can help more than anybody in the community. So
What door did you come in? Just let me know what door you're coming in.
Yes, and I do want to say that we appreciate it. We're going to try and negotiate. And I'm telling you that the temperature is rising, because when you hear seniors say that they're willing to block the intersection and veterans saying they're not going to take it down, we don't want anybody to get hurt. We're not going to let this project go through. And we need your support. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for what you've done so far. It's a lot.
Okay.
Excellent. So let's see. So that was item 7. So next we'll move on to item 8, real quick. Budget Committee, Vince.
Okay, good. Now, hold on. Now I'm all crazy over my agenda. Sorry. Crazy.
Oh, and I have the bills. Item B and C are supporting documents for the website.
Okay. I'll bring them up right now on them. So the Treasury Report is very simple. We're doing good. Our bills are paid. That's a good thing. But I am working right now too on getting our post office box. And so I'm waiting to hear back from the Lincoln Heights post office because we got to get that. I'm working with Sarah so we can get our business cards, and I'm trying to update all that so we can purchase them and get the final design through. And we're also going to be reviewing MPG. So anybody in the public that wishes to submit an MPG, which is a neighborhood purpose grant, I would suggest the public to go on to Empower LA and look at the pie chart of the funding, because we also have community improvement funding. We have outreach funding, which probably this year, because they're going to extend the COVID restrictions, the neighborhood council might not be able to do its own outreach, but we can partner up with nonprofits, right, under MPGs, and in some cases co-sponsorship. So those are things that we're going to be reviewing more into the Treasury Department. And what else? And then that's it for the Treasury. So that's item 8A. And right now I'm going to bring up which is our monthly expenses for November, which is discussion and possible action on the approved payment of $155 to the mailroom. Let me just bring it up. Excuse me. Okay, here we go. So this expense is basically covering the maintenance of our website. And anytime that we ask for them to update it or put the agenda up or supporting documents. And the first fee for the monthly maintenance is $135. And we have a contact fee of $20 for a total of $155. Because this is a funding item, we have to do this one. Oh, this is the month of November. We have to do it by roll. So I have it here. Let me just open it up. I'll make this painless as possible. Will someone like to make the motion to approve the expenditure?
Well, let the treasurer make the motion and I'll second it.
Okay, I'll make the motion for funding up to $155 to the mailroom for website maintenance for the month of November of 2021.
I'll second.
Okay, Ben seconds. Give me 1 second. Is there any board comment?
We have a hand up.
Gilbert?
I had my hand up on another item, so I'm sorry.
Okay, so no comment on this one.
No.
Okay. So I don't see any board comment. I'm going to take it to the public. If there's any public comment on this particular agenda item of the expenditure of $155 to the mailroom. Not seeing any. Okay, I'm going to go down the list. So we're voting on funding up to $155 for the mailroom for website maintenance for the month of November of 2021. Sarah Clendenning. Sarah?
C, yes.
Okay, sorry about that. Ben?
Yes.
Okay, Fernanda?
Yes.
Vincent Montalvo, yes. Nancy Soto?
Yes.
Thank you. Benny?
Yes.
Thank you. Didia?
Yes.
Thank you. Joanna?
Yes.
Thank you. Annalee?
Yes.
Thank you. Melanie?
Yes.
Thank you. Victor?
Yes.
Okay. Diego?
Yes.
Thank you. Richard Ortiz? Absent. Gil?
Yes.
Thank you. Steve?
Yes.
Thank you. Selena?
Yes.
you. And Deanna.
Ineligible.
Okay, get that.
Do
Okay,
I turn eligible when I turn 18?
I have to look in that for you. Let me look it up and then I'll email you the response on that. I think you
I
can.
didn't say, yeah, if you turned 18, then you able to vote.
Oh,
As
do
long
I
as
need
you-
any extra training?
As long as you completed all the trainings,
Oh, okay. I turn 18 next month. That's why I want to be prepared.
no problem. Yeah.
Okay, so we're moving on from that expenditure item and let me see. It's the same, it's fun. It's a discussion and possible action for funding up to $155 for the month of December for the website maintenance. It's from the mail room. It's pretty much the same thing we just discussed right now, just for the month of December of 2021. And I can, let me just check right here. Oh,
That same one.
okay.
Just,
Okay, here it is, December. Okay, and the breakdown's the same, $135 for the maintenance fee, and there's a $20 contact fee, bringing the total to 155. So I'd like to make the motion to approve.
second.
Okay, let me just say the expenditure. I'd like to make the motion for funding up to $155 for the mailroom websites for December 2021. Ben seconds. Is there any board member comment? I don't see any board member comment. Is there any public comment? I don't see any public comment. We'll close the comments and we're going to a vote. Sarah,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Fernanda,
Yes.
Vincent Montalvo, yes. Nancy,
Yes.
thank you. Benny,
Yes.
Didia,
Yes.
thank you. Joanna,
Yes.
thank you. Annalee,
Yes.
thank you. Melanie,
Yes.
thank you. Victor,
Yes.
thank you. Diego,
Yes.
Richard Ortiz is absent. Gil,
Yes.
thank you. Steve,
Yes.
thank you. Selena,
Yes.
thank you. And Deanna, ineligible.
Ineligible. Thank you.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Motion carries. Woo. All right, so next we will move on to item 9, Planning and Land Use Committee. 9A, discussion and possible action on letter regarding 2417 to 2455 North Thomas Street and 2428 to 2436 North Gates Street. This is the former Little Flower property. Case number CPC 2019-4983-GPA-VZC. So there's a link on our agenda there. And then CEQA number ENV-2019-4984-ND. So this is just taken from the determination report. The proposed project is a change of use from a school, daycare, convent, dormitories, playground, and chapel to storage, office, and motion picture / television uses. The request includes a general plan amendment, GPA, from low residential to neighborhood commercial, and a vesting zone change from QR1-1D and QR1-1D-HPOZ to QC2-1D and QC2-1D-HPOZ, Historic Preservation Overlay Zone. The proposed project also includes the potential development of an additional 10,000 square feet of office use on portions of the project site that are outside the current HPOZ boundaries. So presentation 5 minutes. Vince, can you go to the supplementary documents? Now we have the determination. So we have a brochure from the applicant, and then we have the so we have that, we have the determination there, and then the one below is the environmental
Determination.
determination. Yeah, so maybe you could both of them have images of the project, but I don't know. Vince, do you want to just kind of run with this for a second and then we'll bring the applicants in, or?
Are the applicants here to do the presentation?
Yeah.
Yeah, let them start with the presentation and we can fill in the back.
Okay, and yeah, so I just want to say one thing. So this went through our council in 2019. I have that file there. It's one of the third ones down there. They voted to approve it, but I believe the thing has changed. So Vince, yeah, so the applicants are Paul Gary from Somas.
Okay, I unmuted him.
Okay, Paul?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, thank you very much. My name is Paul Gary from Somas, representing the applicant and property owner narrator. And can I share my screen? Because we have a short presentation we'd like to show you.
Mm-hmm.
Give me one second. Let me just bring you over. So Paul, if you can just accept, I'm bringing you as a panelist, and then when you become a panelist, I'm gonna give you if you can try to gain access to the share screen, let me stop it. Okay. You should be able to get the screen now.
I'm sorry, it's saying that the host has disabled screen sharing.
Okay, give me 1 second.
Okay, it's coming now.
Okay.
Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Again, my name is Paul Gary with Somas, representing narrator, the applicant for the project. And we just have a few brief slides we want to share with you to give you an update on the project. The site is located on between Gates and Thomas Street, north of Broadway. It was formerly the Little Flower Educational Childcare Center, which they closed their operations in 2017. And the narrator purchased the property to relocate its media business. Because of the kind of use was in an R1 zone, we requested a zone change, a general plan amendment. And we came before the neighborhood council in 2019 for that zone change and received approval. We are back at the request of CD14 after we had our CPC hearing last week because of the change in the district boundaries and because the Plum Committee is coming up soon and due to some changes on the board here. And it's been like 2 years. So we wanted to give everyone an update on the project. So as you can see this here, I'm going to, if you can unmute Tina Carter, she's the applicant and she would like to introduce you to her company and say a few words and then we'll wrap up.
Okay.
Hi, can everybody hear me yet?
Yes.
Hi, guys. Hi, honorable board. I really appreciate you guys seeing us on short notice. I just wanted to speak to what our company is all about and who we are. Me and my husband, Josh, have been together 30 years. We met in art school. We're artists. We still are painters and still make art for fun. We live in Echo Park and have been in the neighborhood of Echo Park for 30 years. My husband's the third generation of his family in Los Angeles. His grandparents lived in Boyle Heights and he's lived on the east side for his whole life. We have always made documentary films and we made our first project along this lines with the first Matrix movie. And we sort of got in this niche of marketing and promo work for larger feature films. And overall, it's a really creative role in entertainment. We get to make all kinds of different things. 20 years ago, it was all about DVDs, and now it's all about social media. But we basically make lots of short and long things for all over the world. So we might make special things for China, special things for South America, or other countries. So basically, we have a small group of employees, about 30 to 40 employees. Sometimes those employees are freelancers, but we like to have staff. We offer healthcare, 401k, other benefits, paid leave. We tend to attract people who want to work in the unions, and we offer a lot of training for high-paying jobs and a lot of high-paying jobs for the people that want to stick with us. We have a lot of creative graphic designers who help me make some of the presentation materials that were in our brochure. We have even more editors, assistant editors, loggers, sound designers, and producers. And basically, I just absolutely love Lincoln Heights. From the minute that I saw Little Flower, I felt like our creative team was uniquely able to find a new home, a forever home at Little Flower, and honor the existing buildings the way they are. The gardens are beautiful. The sculpture, the statuary is beautiful. The people all around are kind of people that are very creative people. The music from the temple down on Broadway and the high school next door is just amazing. And I just absolutely love it there. I hope that we will be an asset for the community. I hope that we will be a resource for the community. And I just hope that everyone on the board is happy over the next 10 years plus that we came to Lincoln Heights. I don't know if I'm forgetting to mention anything that should be mentioned, but basically we're interested in preserving the buildings as they are. They meet our needs. A nun's old bedroom is like a perfect editing room, and I guess their lifestyles are similar. So the use of the space is mainly as an office space for us. The use of the area is a step down from how it was used before in terms of traffic. We presented a lot of traffic studies and other things that are probably included in some of the other documents. Okay, I don't want to take up too much time because I know Paul has more.
Thank you. I'll just go over a little bit of what our requests are again. We have a general plan amendment to change it from low residential to neighborhood commercial because the uses, the media uses aren't permitted in the R1 zone, so a zone change is necessary. We had requested a C2 zoning, but the planning department and the city planning commission have recommended a C4 zone instead to be consistent with the office building to the south on Broadway. All of the structures on the property now will remain. We have requested the ability to add 10,000 square feet of office use and media uses. And that's the only difference in the project from when we were before the board in 2019 to now. In 2019, that was not part of the project, but it evolved a little bit, and now it is, and that was approved by the Planning Commission last week. That's just kind of speculative. We don't know when that might ever happen. But the zone change would allow for it to happen, to go through normal kind of building permitting processes. The study showed that there was no impacts on any of the traffic or other issues. And so with that, we are consistent with all of the general plan requirements, and we will, if with your approval, hopefully we will go before the Plum Committee in the near future, and then they'll be able to occupy the buildings and move forward. That is the extent of my presentation, so I think I'll stop sharing, and we are available to answer any questions. Thank you.
Sarah, was there a letter drafted up already, or is this just to hear the presentation?
This would just be a letter from the just like regarding the project. So there is not a letter drafted up yet.
Okay. So will this be going back to planning?
It would be just a determination, that the board's determination, because it was
Okay.
already, they already went through the pluck earlier.
Okay, got it. So what I'll make to do is make the motion, and this is for our letter of determination, right?
Yeah,
Okay. So I'll make a motion to approve a letter of determination for the project. Let me just get the wording in on it. Where's the CPU? For the project case number CPC-2019-4983-GPA-VZC. Do I have a second? Is there a second for the motion?
I second that motion.
Okay, Victor seconds. Okay, board discussion. If anybody has any questions or comments, now's the time to do it on the project.
Can we go to the public first?
Yeah, we can go to the public first. Public has their hand up. Sophie?
Yeah, I stood on because I saw the agenda item. And so I have something not, and I'm not here to cause any problems. I just am trying to protect the community. When it deals about, when those of us who are suffering from gentrification, I think across the country, I think that your board should make motions to say that none of these land deals should be done in cash, because somebody mentioned the motion picture industry involved. We have a problem with illicit financial flows and money laundering. And I think that's a really important concern with this project. I don't know what's the dollar figure on this project, but to expand it and have office space, sometimes money is laundered overseas and
My
from
God.
third regions. And then I'm not saying that the people involved in doing their work are involved, but we don't have something in California. It's called beneficial owner registry. So the person on the title may not actually be the owner of the property. And the G7 has just told President Biden to do something, because the world is, money laundering, and they're coming in and buying property everywhere. And I know Lincoln Heights is a target. And so if there's going to be any land use projects, you as a neighborhood council should say no cash. Talk to the people who are going to be doing your land use projects to disclose where the money is coming from. And those things are very important, especially when we're talking about motion. You have people like Sony, it's foreign owned, and then they occupy space in our communities, and it's not American owned. And so those are things that are important with all land use projects, and sometimes people involved in projects don't even know who the owners are. So it's food for thought, and just wanted to share that with you, that I have my reservations because of the connection to the motion picture industry. That's all. And I'm not, I support the arts, I support the motion picture industry. However, there's another foreign entity that now has come, and we're under siege in the United States. And that's all I wanted to share with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sophie. Okay, I don't see any more public comment. We'll go to board comment. Gilbert?
Yes, good evening. I wonder where you guys went. We really enthusiastically endorsed your project and everything else like that in the past, but I want to remind the board, I didn't want to interrupt the presentation because it's going to say we're here and you could hear it and everything else like that. But the board technically cannot take this item up because you're not trained. Okay. However, that doesn't mean that I don't think that you can stop the letter of determination, and that's going to go be presented probably to the plug committee if you people get your training and have a plug committee meeting. So they gave a very good presentation previously. They intend to have ties with the high school in regarding to the type of productions and everything else that they're going to be doing at that facility. And what we liked about it was that it was not going to disturb anything that is there presently. They're not going to be leveling the place down and putting buildings up and everything else at that. They're utilizing it in its present condition, and I think it would be a great asset. But as I said, with the board not being trained, and in order to take up planning and land use items, the entire board must be trained. Now, to have the item up in plug committee, only the plug committee members have to be trained. So thank you very much for letting me talk.
Sarah Clendenning.
Okay. Oops, hi. Vince, can you bring up the recommendation report from the supplementary documents? Yeah, okay, so can you scroll down a little? So a little more. Okay, stop. So this image shows the property as seen looking north from North Broadway. So I'm concerned about the rezoning of this property to commercial because there's actually a hillside there. And I'm concerned about the future there, and it's butted up against residences. It's unfortunate the property on North Broadway, the zoning had to follow that zoning, I guess. But this project is different than the original application. Vince, can you go back and then click on, I have the council's previous determination from 2019. So it's right there, Little Flower 2019. So in this decision, Vince, can you scroll down a little? It says that, okay, keep going there. So this is the pluck thing. It says that the owner said they will not change the existing property outside of garden spaces. Okay, so they're not changing it outside of garden spaces, but then there's a new thing of the 10,000. The proposed project also includes the potential development of additional 10,000 square feet of office use on portions of the project site that are outside the current HPOZ boundaries. So that's what's different now. So I'm concerned about development on that hillside. It's outside of the HPOZ boundaries. I'm just wondering if they're going to build on that hill. And I'm just, with the zoning change, it's a long-term thing, it's just like changing the general plan. And so any place that gets that spot in the future will be commercial, okay? And that's a big deal. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Sarah. The next one is Deanna.
Hello. So as a youth representative, and I saw in your presentation that, oh wait, this is a question to the people. I'm sorry, it's not clarifying that. But so I saw that you would be offering opportunities to students like with internships and everything. So do you have, is that only for Lincoln, or is that for schools within Los Angeles, within like Lincoln Heights, like with like my high school and Smith Tech, which is they're close by? Will they have opportunities as well? And if they will, like, what do you think they'll be?
Hi, am I allowed to go ahead and speak to that?
Please.
Yeah.
Awesome. You are so impressive. Oh my gosh. Wow. I just
you.
love your community involvement already. The way you conduct yourself through this meeting, I would be honored to give you a job interview. And I do work, like we started a lot of years ago working with girls from New Village Girls Academy. My husband's mom actually was in Lincoln Heights when she was pregnant with him and was a teenager and at Florence Crickendor, the unwed mother's home in Lincoln Heights, one of many unwed mother's homes in Lincoln Heights. And as a result of both me and my husband having single moms, we really like to try to help young women who might be transitioning out of a high school experience, not necessarily ready for college, but looking for job training. New Village Girls Academy in Echo Park is a unique school that addresses that. So we had a lot of interns from that program. It was more helping them learn how to do their own student films and figure out what they wanted to apply for at graduation and how to apply for those positions. We also work with a really great organization, used to be called Evolve and is now called GEI, and they work with Para Los Niños to provide internships. And all of our internships, even high school students, are paid. We don't do unpaid internships. And I can also reassure you that our business is very much just like a mom and pop, family run. My kids who are 20, 16, and 13 all work for us as well. My parents help us. My husband's parents also help us. So basically, we're a family run group with a lot of different age internships available. And we would love to have people like you involved in our group and help you make your own films and use those films maybe for issues that are relating to some of the issues that are going on with the council. Okay, I'm sorry, that was a run-on answer.
No, I really loved your answer, especially because like in public schools there isn't much of an emphasis on like music, art, or like dance or like film even. So I was really impressed by your answer and what you've done for the communities that you've been a part of.
And Gilbert was right in our previous presentation. We would love to be involved with the high school right next door. Due to COVID and COVID restrictions on campuses, there probably will be some like hurdles there, but there's some things that we've been developing with GEI that is basically these online Zoom schools that are meant to teach people how they can navigate getting a pathway into something like a cinematographer's union or an editor's union to get union jobs. So that's just one of the many things that we're trying to do to just provide more opportunities for people who don't necessarily have a foot in the door for the entertainment industry, which is a great industry and actually has an amazing history in Lincoln Heights. Every Christmas, I think about it when I watch It's a Wonderful Life, because that's a Frank Capra movie. Frank Capra was a great filmmaker from Lincoln Heights, was an immigrant from Italy and first lived in Lincoln Heights. And a lot of his movies, the small towns feel like Lincoln Heights a lot. Anyway,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next board member is Fernando Sanchez.
Hi, thank you. A few things. First, I did want to address Gail's comments about the board not being trained. If I understood correctly what Jose Galdames said last time, as long as majority of the club committee is certified, we are able to vote. The website does not reflect that I have completed the training, but in fact I have. It's been completed as of 4:21 p.m. today. The website just hasn't been updated and therefore we can vote on this issue. And then moving on to the topic at hand, how is your company narrator catering to the majority of the demographic of Lincoln Heights, that being Spanish speaking immigrants, non-English speaking first generation people or immigrants? Because you keep bringing up Echo Park, but Echo Park is not at all like Lincoln Heights. And I just wanted to make a quick comment. Personally, I think it was a little inappropriate to offer a job to one of the board members. It's a little too close to bribery. And I definitely wanted to point that out. Thank you.
Oh, should I go ahead and answer? I just wanted to apologize for that. You're right, that was inappropriate. And just to address your question, the main way that we can try to be a benefit to the community is by offering highly paid jobs to people and not ever discriminating against someone's language and trying to provide opportunities in jobs that use those language skills. And then also just culturally, materials we make are meant to specifically appeal to everyone. And we have all kinds of projects from different countries. And filmmaking is an international business with a lot of international clients. And so actually, we always try to really hire diversely with a lot of different people speaking different languages. We don't try to just fit into a niche. I hope that answered you.
Thank you. Our next board member is Diego Zapata.
Thank you, Chente. I appreciate the applicants and the presentation. It sounds like they try their best to be intentional. I would like to echo Sarah's concerns as well. I do have a concern regarding that zoning change from C2 to C4. Any zoning change is particularly because that site is so historically and culturally important for Lincoln Heights. There's probably so many like community members who went to that school and can, recall their days there, and that the buildings themselves are historic. And I'm just thinking ahead towards the future, how Lincoln Heights as a council, as a community, could protect the history and the legacy of that site and that building, should it be zoned for commercial use. I think I have a really hard time endorsing a project that doesn't secure the history of our community and our legacy going forward. That's all.
If I might address that, again, this is Paul Gary. All of the existing buildings on the campus are currently within a historic preservation overlay zone. So that overlay zone has very strict rules about alterations and demolitions of buildings. So there can be no alterations and demolitions without going through the city's HPOZ process. So that overlay zone ensures that the buildings will be protected, as long as that HPOZ is there. And all of any new buildings that would be built outside of that area. And the only reason we're really requesting the flexibility of this additional 10,000 square feet, because the way the planning department conditions zone changes is if they just condition you to exactly what you've proposed. And if we don't propose any additional square footage, then we would have to go through a whole nother zone change process if they wanted to add 1 square foot of anything ever to the site. So by studying the impacts of 10,000 square feet now, it provides some flexibility for the owners who've invested a lot of money into the property to be able to do some additions down the road if the business grows, which we hope it will, and warrants some additional square footage. And that would have to go through its own review process if those buildings were ever proposed.
Thank you. Melanie?
You may have, I was having trouble following, and I apologize. I think you may have started speaking about this just now and answering part of my concern, Paul. So I apologize if I am repeating what Diego said. But Diego, thank you for everything that you said. Yeah, I love that you will preserve that's part of the deal. That's part of the plan. That's what has to happen. Little Flower to me is extremely special. My oldest son went there. It's a beautiful property that was so lovingly cared for by the Carmelite sisters. I do wonder what they think about your company taking over, if you've talked to them at all, and what their feeling is on it. I'm just curious. The other questions that I had were, what kind of access will the public have to the property? It's one of the most beautiful views in Lincoln Heights, up on especially the playground area. And then, yeah, concern for the additional office space, like what will be the purpose of that? And then how can we protect that property going forward into the future? Who takes over after you guys, and what they may not have the same goals in community involvement or protection that you strive to have. And what does that mean for Lincoln Heights going forward? What does that property become, and how does that affect the surrounding homes and displacement and the value increase and all that stuff? It's a major concern. So I'm just wanted to echo that. And then also I wanted to say, where your husband's mother, Tina, where your husband's mother was, a Florence Crittenden, that is where Diana goes to school now. That's Lala High School. That is her school. So just wanted to, that'd be nice for you to know, a cool fact. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
That is amazing. Thank you for telling me that. And I just want to reassure you that, of course, I had a very close relationship to the Carmelite sisters, Sister Mary Kathleen. And I talked for over a year before we decided to finalize our offer on Little Flower. The reason was because it was very difficult to get financing. I had to get a small business loan, and it is a lot of hoop jumping. There was no plans of the existing campus when we were trying to purchase it. There was 2 other people who were in escrow already with the sisters, and 2 developers who fell out of escrow because the community was not going to get behind what they wanted to do. which was to subdivide the lots, add roadways through, and develop, larger scale, expensive homes. So basically, the sisters were looking for someone who was going to be keeping the site the way that it is, who loved the site as it was. And we developed our relationship over a year, and we still have the same groundskeeper, Sam Rios, working for us now. And we want to keep as many people, like my good friend Anna from Little League up at Nila, which is on top above Dodger Stadium. That was her first employer was there, and she was talking to me about everyone. And then since I've been over there, I run into people all the time that are like, that's where my kids went. That's where my first job was. And so I know quite a few people who have benefited from that place. People that say, like, I always wanted to get married there. The views are so amazing. And I don't want to make any promises, but we would love for those aspects of it, like the view and the gardens, to be, a valuable part of the community that everyone is able to experience at appropriate times.
And if I may, let me just address the other part of the question. The conditions of approval that the Planning Commission imposed on the project in their hearing would only allow for office and motion picture uses within that C4. So even if a narrator wasn't the tenant anymore, the properties would still be conditioned to only be allowed to be under those uses. If anyone wanted to use the buildings for any other purpose, they would have to go through their own zone change to allow for any other use, even residential use or school use again. So it's strictly conditioned to what a narrator is proposing for their kinds of use for any existing buildings.
I forgot to say one thing to what was discussed. So one element of the gardens is all the statuary, right at the very top where Thomas kind of bends to the left and becomes a neighborhood, is this really beautiful grotto area with a gorgeous view. It's built out of stones, kind of like lava stones, and then has a sculpture of the little flower of Saint Teresa. And I just want to say that I signed a separate agreement with the sisters, reassuring them that all those sculptures that were really important to the way that the facility looks, the way the gardens look, that those would be staying in place. And that if I were to ever sell the property, that I would have the next person sign the same thing, or that I would make sure that these sculptures were returned to the Carmelite Sisters campus in Alhambra, which I went to visit and looks very, very similar to Little Flower. I also want to reassure you that some things like the stained glass windows were taken by the sisters to build for their new retirement home chapel, which was in Duarte, which they were building at the time that they moved out. And I would like to put new stained glass windows in that are non-denominational, but that are there as a tribute to what should be there and what I wish had stayed. But the sisters had their plans that fit their community. And there was a history with those windows that they were designed by one of the older sisters who had passed, and that they wanted to keep them. So as much as we can keep, we want to keep, and we want to honor and respect. And I have absolutely no intention of selling this property. And I do not want to, I want to make a forever home there and have a business that thrives and that the community is proud of.
Thank you. I think I just want to add, because I don't see any more comments and I can't raise my hand, but I'll give my 2 cents here. I've gone through that process. I grew up in Echo Park. I've seen several of these types of projects go through. I've seen what covenants are worth in today's time, what promises are. And I'm not saying that this project is the same like all, but far too often they fall through. No one can predict the business. No one can predict whether somebody would sell or not. The fact that it's going for a zone change automatically tells us that it's not going to be in the scale of our community, because there's an alteration to it. For whatever purpose it may be, the zoning's put in place so that it stays within the characters of the community, within the uses of the community. And this one obviously is going to be changed. Those types of things worry me, because being involved in researching gentrification and how these models work, We see these type of venues come in and then they fall apart or they're developed massively. And people would say, yeah, but it can't be developed outside the scales of the city. That's not true already. We know what's happening in downtown LA. We know the corruption in the planning department. And we also tell people this, our policies today are rooted in the racism and the destruction of our community. So sometimes by applying these policies that we're governed by, they have a negative outcome no matter what happens or what the intent is, whether good or bad, right? And I think that's something that I take into consideration when I look at these types of projects, because they're detrimental sometimes to the community directly or indirectly. It's very presence, right? And to preserve, I think Paul mentioned too that there was either a clause put in where the 10,000 square foot was meant so that it can expand. So that means that there is going to be alterations to the buildings at some point in time, or maybe not, right? That's dependent on the expansion of the company. And one more note on, just because we've been working on the indigenous issues of the land, and it's also about the respect and acknowledgements of the people. A lot of the current statues that are around that happen to be from Catholic, Christian, whatever it was, that's a real trigger point for the indigenous people of the land too. So while it's very hard to accommodate everybody, I do say people need to take into consideration, because our community is predominantly, Mexican American of indigenous descent. And I think that's something that we all need to take into consideration when we're looking at this, because it's not just about preserving certain things, but it's about understanding that it's a diverse community and that there's a lot of little minds everywhere, we could say, right? And in this project, I just don't like that it's a zone change. And I usually see it when it goes to commercial. I've tracked a lot of the planning projects I go through. Far too often, they become huge developments in the community that become problems for our community members. And on a last note, environmental impact reports, while I see that yours says that there's insignificant influence to the area, we got to remember, too, board members and public, is that these type of environmental impact reports are done by the developers or project managers or owners. They're governed by the policies of the states, cities, counties, but they're implemented by them. And far too often they say there's insignificant a problem that would happen because the project's going to be there. And they base these things on traffic studies that they've altered the VM traffic model. So they're flawed. And I think that's something that we have to educate too when we're looking at this, because people just want to say it's a law, we apply it, we followed the rules. But like I said, policies are rooted in racism. They have negative outcomes for communities of color. And keep that in mind when these projects go through, whether the intention is good, back directly or indirectly, it will have an effect on our community. Thank you.
Okay, Vince, I see two hands up on the attendee side.
Okay, and Mr. Adams, oh, excuse me, it's Emma Howard first, and then Mr. Adams.
Hi, everybody. This is Emma Howard from CD14. I just wanted to note on behalf of our office, we really appreciate you taking the time to provide some feedback. We're interested in any recommendations the neighborhood council has to make before this gets to Plum. So it will go to Planning and Land Use Management Committee. So if the neighborhood council has anything very specific, any specific design recommendations, feelings, thoughts, kind of overall board character on how this is going to proceed, just let us know. Send me the letter. Sarah, you know how to find me. And I did want to note something. I know there was kind of a question about the change to zoning, and Diego, I think you had said, why C4 instead of C2? And I wanted to note that at least as far as C4 and C2 are considered, C4 is a little bit more restrictive in uses than C2. So normally the numbers as they go up, it's a little bit less restrictive. But in my experience with C4, it's a bit more limited than the C2 zone in terms of kind of commercial uses. Both zones, as I understand it, have the allowable residential zoning would be R4. So that's a multifamily zone for, mixed use projects. And then there are D limits and Q limits on this proposal, which would limit the heights and kind of make sure that it conforms with the Northeast LA hillside. So I'm also happy to kind of, I'm interested to hear what folks feel about those 10,000 extra square feet. That's kind of a new addition to the project since the last time it was seen here, but I just wanted to note that. I know like with C4, C2, which zone does what, just wanted to share that information. So again, our office just found out about it the Tuesday before the CPC that it was in our district, because we've asked planning hopefully to get those maps corrected so we know where our projects are and who's with us, and so that we can be present and make sure that participation happens early and often. But I wanted to share that information because I think that's helpful in your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Emma.
Thank you, Emma. Yeah, our board, this only came to the attention of the board because of a resident within 500 feet of the project received a notice. Our board was not notified of the CPC hearing. We have one more comment.
Mr. Adams.
Yes, hello. Thank you all for your time. I do have major concerns about the zoning change. It's not without any risk that you would make this change. Especially 10,000 feet of expansion it's pretty terrifying. Especially thinking of the outlay of the community. I do understand the sentiment, that her intentions that she's trying to do, or at least what she's presented. But I do think that it's not without risk that you make changes to this community. I myself went to Little Flowers, so there is some connection to it, but at the same time, I understand what she's trying to do, but I think the risk of expansion and changing the zone, I don't think it's going to go well with community outreach. So that's all, but thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Okay, so any more comments?
We got Joanna. We can't hear you, Joanna. Hold on, let me unmute you. You can unmute.
Oh, I got it. I got it. Thank you. Yeah, I was just saying that it seems like you've done, a lot of research and built some relationships, but this whole time I just keep looking at the map and I'm zoning in and zoning out. And I feel like the impact of, we're not really looking into what the impact might be in the future. And I just can't see, I keep seeing all these residence homes, and then I see this future, place just kind of taking over and kind of influencing what already we're having issues with people trying to purchase lands and build mansions, like if you go straight up. And so I'm just thinking that it's just, there's got to be more diligence to it, maybe more input from the community, just because it seems like, not that it seems, I think that it will start. I mean, this is a very residential area. I just can't imagine more office space, especially from a place that provided such a lot of opportunities for young people to learn and go to school there. So it just seems like the connection is not quite there. And I'm just also afraid of just what it might lead to. And then also what it might open to for other people, changing these zones and being like, yeah, we can just, from here on, I feel like that can influence the block over and whatnot. And so I don't want to live in fear. And I'm not saying that, building or doing other different things, but I just feel like this one in particular sets the tone in many ways that can jeopardize the culture and the history of the area. Thank you.
And we have another comment.
We had one in the public, and I think I may have not seen him.
Oh, we have a public comment. Yeah.
Yeah. 1 second, Diego. Okay. Give me. And I would say the name, but shame on me, I cannot say it. But feel free to talk. I unmuted.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, my name is Alusham Gatacho and I work with Narrator. And I felt compelled that I should respond to a couple of comments, especially the last one from Joanne. I just want to set the context that the school, when the Carmelite sisters were running the school since 1974 was operating under a variance. It was because of the type of use that was doing commercial use in a residential zone and was operating under a variance for a long period of time, which continued and continued in perpetuity. What Tina is trying to do is legalize the use basically and make it conforming. And that is the reason why she wanted to do everything correctly, which is why she went in and asked for a zone change and a general plan amendment. In terms of the, just having long-term ownership and long-term preservation of what is there and respecting the history, it is also part of like their business model to be able to preserve those buildings and be able to also at the same time accommodate whatever changes there might be to their business model. And that is why they said, we don't know if we will ever build 10,000 square feet. We don't know if we will need it. However, given that we plan on living here forever in terms of our business and making this our home for our business, we have to be willing to look at potential changes if 50 years from now, 20 years from now, 100 years from now. And that is really that. It is all about trying to be part of something and grow something that they thought would be beneficial to the community overall. And they thought the use, frankly, and the Carmelite sisters were excited about this use because they had been getting a lot of static. They had been trying to sell the property for a long time, and all they were getting were developers because, yes, it is a beautiful spot. It has got beautiful views. It's a great site. And so they had been getting a number of people who'd been coming in saying, we want to tear everything down and develop it on this hillside. So they were very happy to find a couple who had a small business who wanted to come in and invest in the city of Los Angeles and move their current headquarters from Echo Park to Lincoln Heights. So that is really what they're trying to do. So I don't want anyone to misconstrue. And I thought I should give context to what the situation was.
Okay, Diego, and then that'll be on and Sarah.
Sorry, I was trying to refer back to the document. I'm just trying to understand why does the zoning have to happen? Why does that zone change have to happen? Is it just because of the flexibility that they may or may not want this opportunity to build an additional 10,000 square feet? Because I think I recall when I read the document that the CPC recommended a zone change just because the building in front of Little Flower is also commercial.
No, they carried the same C4 because the building before them had already been C4. So planning continued that for continuity, and because that was clear and that was easier from a zoning perspective. The reason why they need the zone change is because to operate any kind of digital media use, just as to operate a school, is not conforming in the current zone. The school shouldn't have been existing under a variance. It should have gotten a zone change. Same way this business should get a zone change in order to be able to be there.
Diego, this is Emma Howard. I also just wanted to say, I mean, should or shouldn't is a hard question to answer, but to the applicant's point, the previous use for this site was primarily a commercial use, right? And if they keep that R1 zoning, I think the question would be then what happens with the site, which would be that likely somebody would cut it up or, it would be for single family use. So I think the question for the board is, is that a better alternative that the community would prefer? Or is this project a good use to preserve the existing buildings? Because this applicant is proposing to do that, but to operate the business that they want to do, they'll need commercial zoning. So, again, I don't like to impose a moral decision on which way is better, but I think that for the buildings that are there, the question would be if it was an R1 zone, would those be able to stay? And what exactly would happen if you changed? I think you would see the lot get cut up substantially. That's my guess. But again, I'm not trying to impose a a value judgment on that. That's why we want to hear your opinions.
Sarah?
Yeah, I just want to bring up one thing. It's something that happened in December 2020. Maybe it was in a little bit before that, but it alerted the community that Little Flower had been sold. It was when our mural, our historic mural, the Three Gospels, was painted over. And that's the mural that it had been painted in 1994. Super famous mural. It was just painted over within a week. And we were told that basically that mural had been commissioned by the Carmelite sisters in 1994. And I don't know if they owned that wall or if the applicant was involved in this painting over this mural, but in any case, yeah.
Sorry.
It's, yeah, super famous mural and a huge loss to the community. A lot of community upset. But was that something that you were involved in, or?
Absolutely not. I just want to say absolutely not. We're artists. We love all the murals that were on campus when we got there. We basically, just to reassure you, I'm not totally sure where the mural that got painted over is located, or was located, but that would be for sure not us.
Thank you.
Sarah, so on this one, we don't have a letter drafted up, right?
Well, no, because we have to come to a conclusion.
But are we gonna have, what's the deadline for this particular item? Does it have a hearing date?
Emma would know. It hasn't been announced at Plum Committee yet. That's where it goes.
Usually it takes a little while. The planning staff is going to have to write their staff report, kind of send out their letter from the City Planning Commission approving the project, and then they'll forward it to us, and it has to get something called a council file number, which requires like a little routing process that goes to the mayor's office and comes back. So I think you would have some time. I would think of it in sort of weeks, maybe 6 weeks, 7 weeks tops, but I would encourage if you want to get involved and make recommendations, I would try to move somewhat quickly. Maybe somebody could, if there's like a working group or something that can be set up that's outside of the quorum issue, just some folks to make recommendations or have more conversations with the developer might be a good way to handle this. But you have a little time. I would, not wait forever, but it will take a little while for all the files and paperwork to move around.
Sarah, would you want to move it to a planning and land use to draft the letter up so we can get the wording into it?
Yeah.
Because I think that's what this is going to take. I think there's a lot of people.
We need more community input.
Yeah, and I think if we take it back there, we can draft a better letter up, and we have a better understanding now on what, where we probably want it to go. And then we can draft the letter and bring it up to the council for approval.
Okay.
Okay, so I think it should be one of the first items that we do on the environment and land use. And then tackle this one on just environment and land use letter. And then we'll discuss the position there and what we want the letter, the body of the letter to look like.
Okay, and our next general board is it's in 2 weeks, so it will be the 17th of February.
Okay, we can get it done between then. We can get the letter out.
Yes.
So
Okay.
Just to let the public know and board members know or committee members know, it'll be heard at the Environment and Land Use Committee, and the public will then have the ability to comment on the item, and we'll see if we can get back the presenters, and then have a real quick community meeting, and then draft the letter from there, and then have the letter by our next general board.
Yeah. So the planning and land use meeting will be coming in the next week, I think.
Okay, so on this item, we'll continue, and it's going to be sent back to Pluck, and the Planning and Land Use Committee will take it up.
Okay.
So there's no action on this item today.
All right. We have one more hand up, but did Gil already speak on this?
No, I don't think he spoke on it. Gil, go right ahead.
Yes, I'd like, is Jose still here? Advocate?
Yes.
Okay, I wish he would address Fernanda. She seems to be under the impression that the board can take this up. That is not true. And if she does have 4 members that have taken the training before the cutoff date. That's 4 out of 7, and I will say that, and Jose is aware of it, that any members of the committee roster who did not take the training by January 1st are immediately removed from the committee and cannot serve.
Okay, well, we're not taking any action today, but I think you can send an email to Jose on that one.
Yeah, go.
No action today.
So Jose. All right, so since there's no action on this item, we're going to move to the next item. Thank you, everybody, for presenting today. The applicants, yeah. All right, so we have some community impact statements. We have item 9B. Discussion and possible action on community impact statement regarding Council File 18-0555 and Council File 18-0555 S1. It says 303 North San Fernando Road / Bureau of Sanitation, LASAN. Clean Water Campus, 342 North San Fernando Road, Goodwill, Southern California, Goodwill Headquarters, CD1, Collaborative Partnership, Facilities Development. And the other council file is Nossaman LLP, LASAN, Clean Water Campus Building Parking Project Agreement. So we have a supplementary file. So this is for the Goodwill Headquarters on San Fernando Road and the Department of Sanitation there. Plans for future development and demolition of properties on that site and proposed development on adjoining sites owned by Goodwill. So we have a community impact statement opposing it. Scroll down, Vince. So that's the, oh wait, this is the wrong motion. It would be 555. Yeah, that one. Does that have the motion? Scroll down a little. So that's the motion by Cedillo, and this is from 2018. And yeah, so there's a new motion now. The city's paying like for lawyers like $500 an hour to help negotiate this partnership. So it's taxpayer money. But Vince, can you scroll down and just show these images? So we went through the old Sanborn maps and found, so there are a lot of toxic sites within the CASP, okay, that haven't been remediated. This is based off of their EIR too, which identifies the toxic sites. But in our research, we found that on the actual current LA Department of Sanitation site, that's where the City of Los Angeles waste incinerator was. There, 1951, municipal waste incinerator. So this is their map of the toxic properties that haven't been remediated. And scroll down, Vince. So yeah, so abutting that actual, the Department of Sanitation property was a oil refinery in 1906, or a little before 1906. That was moved around after they ran the freeway, and that, you know, there's a lot of soil that's been unaccounted for, but that, if you see that big red chunk right there, that is the Department of Sanitation site that's like identified as a hazardous site. And we are, you know, we don't know where that soil was moved after they moved that oil refinery or whatever, but so 39 and 43 would, and then where's the other site? So they would be developing also across the street from the Goodwill too. And then demolishing the Goodwill headquarters that are there now. It's an Art Deco building, but that building was set up in the 1930s. The whole Goodwill compound was to teach like industrial trade skills to disenfranchised communities, to get them jobs. So there were a lot of little shops in there run by Goodwill. And we feel that it's a historic site, the Goodwill building, and everything that it did for our community. And historically, this area right here, you always had the jail, you always had Goodwill, St. Vincent's, that helped a lot of people. And it's just to see these things go, and to think that this site's would be under construction for many years in this partnership. It would further disenfranchise our community that's in need of services. That's all I have to say. I shouldn't have talked so much.
Well, look, we have a letter, and I want to first make a motion for the letter to approve it, and it's a community impact statement opposing it, right, Sarah?
Yeah.
Okay. So right now, I'll say this so we can move on this a little faster and get public comment and board member. I'd like to make a motion to accept the community impact statement for CF 18055 and council file 18-055-S1. Is there a second?
I second.
Selena seconds. Okay, is there any board member comment on it? Okay, not seeing any. Oh, hold on, one, Diego.
Yeah, I have one.
Okay, go ahead, Benny. Benny popped up first, Diego.
No, just that we lost the job placement center when USC put their charter school there right by Lincoln Park.
Yeah.
Mission Street side. That was a job placement center. That was a resource for the community that was lost. So, what Sarah said hit a nerve with me about the fact that the Goodwill, which is another place that folks go to find a job, for the thought of that, losing that resource is, for me, would be, really, really bad. So just wanted to say that. Thanks.
Thank you, Benny. Diego?
Thanks, Sante. This is a question to Sarah. Because this part of Lincoln Heights, this industrialized part of Lincoln Heights is just an environmental mess. It's a trauma. There's just so much that needs to be remediated there. I was trying to find, has LASAN outlined any potential remediation they would do if they were to hypothetically build this new headquarter building for themselves?
Well, Diego, it's kind of interesting, like historically this area where it was where the arroyo was pretty much just a shallow, huge floodplain of gravel. And then they always had the rock crushers moving the earth around, selling the sand or giving the sand to the city for the concrete, So it was pretty much it was called Hawley's gravel pits. With a lot of this CASP stuff, as we see with like Avenue 34, it's like the color coded, the EIR map, it recommends like phase 2, like soil samples and stuff, but they just do the minimum. So it's like the EIR for the CASP initially said that like the Avenue 34 site needed phase 2 testing. And then when we read the EIR later, just for that site, it says that it's not necessary. So it's like, I don't even know if the Department of Sand site would be remediated inevitably. It's a partnership where the Department of Sand like builds on the Goodwill site. And then they're building parking for how many cars does it mean? 800 cars?
800, yeah.
So it's like with the CASP, it's like the CASP doesn't require parking, right? Because they foresee that the new residents will be taking public transportation. So it's like, why does Department of Sand want to build 800 parking spots? We have the accompanying files. It's very complex, this whole situation, and especially with this partnership with the city and this private entity. I don't know if remediation would happen. And also, the plans to build housing across from the Goodwill, the current Goodwill, that site is, it has like an open, some sort of like sewer problem, that's where all the sewer gas comes out. Also, Goodwill in this proposal says that it's going to cease all retail facilities. They're getting out of that business, I guess. So who knows what this future partnership would look like with Goodwill, It seems that they would cease certain operations in our community. So that's all I have to say.
That was a lot. No, but I think it's true. I think looking at this thing, it's more detrimental. Taking away the Goodwill. I mean, I shop the Goodwill and I ain't ashamed. but I think a lot of people do and a lot of people use it, right? So it's sad to see a lot of this stuff go. I just think it's more issues than solutions to what the problems are in our neighborhood. But yeah, I say let's move on it. I don't see any more board member comment. Should we move to public comment?
Okay.
Okay, we got Mr. Adams.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to echo the same concern that you just made, Chente. I don't think it's a good fit, and I don't think it would be beneficial to the community either on any scale. So I would completely oppose this. So, but thank you guys for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Adams.
Thank you.
Okay, and just one more point on this before we take a vote on it. You know, at the bottom, there's a section of the motion where it says potentially affordable housing. You know, when I saw that little phrase in there, it itches me wrong that a city official who would write this type of motion would use the word potential, right? When we need affordable housing. If this site was going to be cleaned up for anything, should we not be using it for affordable housing? Should this not be public housing land? Should we not be forcing a lot of the money that we have in the river, take it out and as much as I don't like the word remediation of land, but try to, you know, clean it up to the best we can to turn it into housing, but instead it'll be another city facility, right? So that's just one point I want to make on that. But Fernanda, we should just move to the vote on it.
All right, Sarah Clendenning,
Yes on the letter.
Ben Wadsworth,
Yes.
Chente,
Yes.
Fernanda, yes. Nancy,
Yes.
Benny,
Yes.
Didia,
Yes.
Joanna,
Yes.
Diana,
Yeah.
Annalee,
Yes.
Melanie,
Yes.
Victor,
Yes.
Diego,
Yes.
Gil,
Yes. Sarah?
Yes, sir.
I took it at your word that we'd be done by 8 o'clock. I have another engagement and I'd like to be excused.
Oh, sorry. I didn't say it would be done by 8 o'clock. I said we were going to try to get it done.
I know, but I have some place to go and I want to let everybody know that I have another engagement and I'm gonna have to leave.
right, we
Okay.
still have quorum.
Okay, we still have quorum, but
Mhm.
yeah, you were supposed
Thank
to
you,
say
Gil.
that before. Okay. Thank you, Gil. Okay.
Steve,
Yes.
Selena,
Yes.
it's unanimous, motion carries.
Motion carried. I don't know where my clacker is. All right, so we'll move on to the next item real quick. Oh, sorry, I'll just, so it's
Sure.
let me get my agenda up. Oh, yeah, discussion and possible action on community impact statement regarding Council File 21-4118 and Council File 21-4118-S24, designation of prohibited location resolution series, LA Municipal Code 41.18, Council District 1. Resolution designating specific areas for enforcement against sitting, lying, sleeping, storing, using, maintaining, placing personal property, or otherwise obstructing the public right of way. Locations include Downey Park, which is now called Albion Park, Downey Park Pool, and Lincoln Heights Recreation Center. On the motion, we have the full, or on the letter, we have the full list attached as a thing. But so this is part of the 41.18, these resolution series banning people from obstructing public right of way. And could you scroll down, Vince?
Before we start this one, I just want to make the motion so we have everything going.
Yeah, you take the ball.
I would like to make the motion to approve the community impact statement on Council File 21-4118 and Council File 21-4118-S24 24. Is there a second?
Second that.
Okay, Steve seconds. Okay, and then Sarah,
Hey, any board member comment on this?
we have Fernanda Sanchez.
Just really quickly, as moderator, can I motion for a 5-minute break? We've been on the meeting over 2 hours.
Yes.
And I see that there's still a lot left in the agenda.
Okay,
Okay.
let me just put that time on there. And you said 5, right, Fernanda?
Yeah, or whatever.
Okay.
Hello. Does anybody want to see okay, so LUSD held a photo competition. I made it onto a calendar. So does anybody want to see it?
Sure.
Okay, 1 second. Hello.
Oh, I
It's
know.
me.
Oh, wow.
It's me.
Congratulations.
Nice, Diana.
Thank you. This is what it's called.
Good job, Diana.
Thank you.
Photo maven.
Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna go now to brag to my parents.
That's nice. We are on break. We are on break. Anybody know? Where did you have a break?
On Lunar New Year, I went to like 6 or 7 temples. It was great.
Did you go to the ones in Lincoln Heights?
Yeah, the one on Broadway.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like 2 more that I went to in Chinatown. One of them was closed because they were praying though.
Because they were praying or crying?
Praying.
So they wouldn't let you in.
Yeah, we could hear it though. Like, and it was chill. And then I went to the one like it was behind the library. I think that's the exact that's like somewhat of the geography. And that one was fun. It was packed. There was so much smoke in the air. It looked like mist. Fog.
In Chinatown, you mean?
Yeah.
That's nice. Yeah, there's people in Lincoln Heights playing the sounds of the what is it? There's some recording people play of like the crashing sound of the I don't.
I want the fireworks to come back to Chinatown.
Literally though, like honestly.
I used to love when they would put the strands all the way down Broadway, and I got hit by them, but it was worth it.
Bro, I went to I think it was like 2 years ago, and they lit the fireworks up. Oh my god, my ears were literally ringing.
Yeah.
They use balloons now. That's not fair.
Those little black cat ones, they string together like the firecrackers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They used to have those big rolls coiled up, and man, as a kid I used to see them all the time. My mom used to take us down there.
Oh, what's it called? Now they do it like in the morning, so like from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. They don't do it anytime before or after, unfortunately, if they do it.
There's an alarm clock.
We need to bring it back on our neighborhood council. We need to
Literally,
write them,
though.
the Chamber of Commerce, and say, let's not be cheap. Let's buy the fireworks.
Give them all of it.
Yes, and I'll even tell them, if you're scared of lighting them, me and Diana will light them. We'll be glad to light them.
Literally, though.
They're such mild fireworks too. They're not like the rockets, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I would want rockets, but LA Fire Department says we'll burn ourselves.
Come on, it's YOLO time, man.
We need fireworks. It helps us. It's therapeutic.
Mm-hmm.
But
gosh, do they still have those little, the things you throw, the snappers?
Oh yes, bro. What's it called? I haven't used those in so long, but I know they do exist. It's just there are a couple shops along Chinatown. They were closed, and that's where you usually buy them.
Yeah, I remember we used to empty them all out into a coffee.
God,
a huge one, but it doesn't work.
It works when you step on them, though. You just jump on them.
Or like even those like cap guns. I don't know if they maybe I'm old, but it was like a paper reel with little dots.
And
It's-
it looked like a little rocket, right?
Oh, it's just a cap gun in the back. The hammer hits the paper roll and then it snaps. You know, it has a little.
Oh.
Sarah, I think I seen those in a museum.
Really?
Oh no. Oh no.
Chrome ones, the silver tip. Yeah.
No, we're not too much. I used to play with those too, the little cap guns. You used to open them up and the coil would put it in and you would put it on the little head and you'd pull the trigger and it snapped. Well, they were dangerous because I burned myself on one.
Really? You're that. Yes, I ruined it for everybody else.
It would have helped if I wouldn't have touched the gasoline. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, you had
Sparks
one
do
hand
cause
and some
fire.
gasoline.
Okay. Is
Oh
everyone
wait.
back?
Okay, that
Okay. Right before it ends, I'm just telling everybody that I got accepted to CSUN.
Woohoo!
Congrats.
Oh,
Good.
cool.
Thank
job, Diana.
you.
Congratulations.
Thank
Are
you.
you waiting to hear back from the other ones still?
Yeah, I have 28 more to hear back from.
You put that in schools?
I applied to 30 schools. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Do you know
Got
what
it.
you're majoring in, Diana?
Yeah, I'll be double majoring. So I'll be double majoring in English with a concentration in creative writing and also economics and with a concentration in heterodox economics if possible. Like if it's Yale, I'm definitely gonna I'm definitely gonna go into the EP&E program, which is ethics, politics, and economics program.
Wow.
Wow.
Interesting.
Thank you. I recently got to talk to a Buddhist monk who got a master's in economics, so that was really cool.
Interesting.
I had a lot of questions for that one. How does he use that skill and still practices Buddhism?
Well, you see,
We'll leave that one for our next meeting.
yeah, let's not.
Okay, Sarah, we're back on track with our item.
Okay, we're back on track. So
Is everyone here? Okay, we have 15. Okay.
So we're back on track. So did I already read all this? Yeah, so this is the ban on the sleeping, lying, blocking the public right away. And then Vince, if you scroll down a little, it actually, I just had mentioned a couple sites in Lincoln Heights, but it also lists Elysian Park, Debs Park, Cypress Park Rec, there's Downey Park Pool, Lincoln Heights Rec, Rio de Los Angeles Park. Yeah.
Everywhere that's popular.
Yeah, everywhere that's popular, but it's, my letter states, you know, I think it was the beginning, Vince, was at the beginning of the pandemic, the city opened Downey Park Pool for showers. Do you remember this?
Yeah, they did for a while and they shut it down because of the health.
They let the unhoused sleep in Downey Park, right?
Yeah.
So that's pretty interesting.
Well, I mean, look, my take on this, and this is just my comment. I don't want to make it too long because I know we're already killing on time here. The fact that the city would use any type of, to prohibit the homelessness to be sleeping in public spaces, it's so controversial, right? Because we do want the homeless to have clean spaces too, as well, public spaces. But when the city has failed to provide housing, when the city has failed to fix its policies to create affordability, these are some of the things that we have. And in today's homelessness, everyone thinks that homeless is just, army vets, or they have mental health issues or alcoholism. And no, we're seeing our friends out there. We're seeing neighbors, mothers with children. And so it's not normal. And this system starts to criminalize the housing, and you start to criminalize homelessness. What does that show for us in the future if one of us, have to face sleeping somewhere because we can't afford, right? And our only crime is not making enough money. And we know that government has a huge influence on that, right? So in a lot of ways, you could be working 3 jobs. Like we found one lady working 3 jobs. I don't know how she does it. And she's living in an RV, and she has 3 kids, and she's got to get them up to work. And what is her crime but being overworked and not making enough money in society today to be able to afford? So that's why I always emphasize on that affordability to very, very low income housing is what we need in our city. And doing something like this is really, it just criminalizes something. You're kicking them when they're already down, And this is public space. We all own it. So even they own it. People don't like that. Well, then we need to put pressure to make housing until we can get places for them. But don't criminalize it. That's just my take.
Yeah, but sometimes the homeless people don't want to also pay bills.
Has nothing to do with it.
And I think we took comments. Is there any more board member comment? If not, we can go to public. Okay, so I don't see any more board member. Pedro Martinez. Oh, excuse me, Ramirez. Sorry. I was thinking of another person.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Hey.
So, I just want to say that, like kind of echoing on what Chente said, with a lot of these people, it's not really, that they are necessarily doing anything bad. Like he said, their only crime is that they can't afford the housing market. And unfortunately, even in our neighborhoods that are considered like lower middle class working neighborhoods, because of the problem of gentrification, we're seeing all of the spikes in the rent and everything. Just it's basically, it's just pricing us out, there's this saying that goes like, if the only consequence to breaking the law is like a fine, then that means that is a law that was created to hurt the poor. And with the housing market, that's exactly what this feels like. It's like the way that they hike up the rent, and then even after they build all these developments and they say, we're gonna put in these like low income units, the low income units are still at a ridiculous price that, like traditional Mexican or Asian Americans, or like, us, the POCs can't afford, because even with 2 jobs, we can barely even make rent. If we can make the rent, we're living like paycheck to paycheck, and it doesn't allow us to, be able to create wealth or be able to create something that's beneficial for our families. And so this thing right here, where they're directly just addressing and saying like, oh, the designations of like where it is, like why are they only going after places in low income neighborhoods? It's a direct attack on our people, and the people who are trying their best. Like Vicente said, with the lady who has 3 kids in an RV, she's trying her best to make out of a situation that's already messed up, and they're just, like he said, they're kicking them while they're down.
Gracias, Pedro.
Thank you, Pedro.
Our next person was Mr. Adams.
Yes, yeah, hello. I just want to say this has always been a class issue, a socioeconomic class issue. This has been going on for decades, for generations even. And when you start to criminalize this class, it says a lot about the society that we live in. You don't see people criminalizing the upper 1%, upper 10% of this economy. Just to give you guys a little sense of this is a 2019 census. There's approximately 14,366,336 housing units in California. And of those, only 54.8% are owner occupied, which means a significant percentage is by tenants. And it's always been economic issue when it comes to gentrification. And this is the fact that we're turning on ourselves. Nobody here in this meeting is part of that top 1% of the wealthy class. So when you criminalize the lowest, the most affected by this economy, you're turning your backs on essentially yourselves. You like Chenta said, it's not only people that suffer from mental illness, it's your neighbors, it's people that you work with, people that you may not know what they're going through financially. And a lot of that has to do with of course it's government run economics. So I do want to say that you go down this road, it's going to be even more detrimental to that class that you're trying to just push underneath the rug. So I think this is absolutely a terrible, terrible thing that we're going down. And it says a lot about our society that the fact that it's even up for a vote, you know, as Chente said, these people also own it, you know, and I don't believe anybody should tell anybody where and where you cannot sleep. Obviously, this is a bigger issue and it's hard to elaborate on in the time frame that we have, but I think it's absolutely terrible, absolutely terrible. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Deanna?
Hello. So to quote the Buddhist monk that I was talking to earlier, he told me that gentrification is just neocolonialism. So yeah, like I know people who've been homeless, like some of my classmates have been homeless, and this is just so cruel to homeless people because it implies that they're lesser than, even though they're not. I mean, I'm just saying that I'm pretty sure like we here in the council know more homeless people than the people who created this whatever it's called, ever know, like, you know, the people who try to create the law. But also knowing that Los Angeles will hold the Olympics in like the upcoming years, I wouldn't be surprised if we got more more laws or something you know, asking for this, like to hide the homeless, to throw them away basically.
Thank you, Deanna. Fernanda?
Yeah, everyone is absolutely right. And I'm very happy to hear everyone speaking out about the injustice that's going on. I want to bring back everyone to 2014 in Highland Park. That year set the precedence for the most fast-tracked gentrification in the West Coast. Historically, gentrification usually takes about 10 years from beginning to end, but in Highland Park, it happened in 4 years. And in 2014 was the year that they sold over 300 apartment buildings, and they were flipped and everyone was displaced. And at that park off of the 110, it was full of tents, of families, of kids who had just lost the apartment they had been living for decades. It was all over the news. It was all over the newspapers. It was all over social media for about a week. And then it disappeared. Nobody ever followed up with what happened to these families. Are they still living in the streets? Where did they move out to? And to just bring back the perspective that all of us here, we are a lot closer to being homeless than we are to being the top 1%. We are one like economic crash from being homeless. We're a few decisions away from being homeless. And the precedents that these officials are taking into setting of criminalizing homelessness really speaks volumes to what is going on here in Los Angeles. Thank you.
Thank you, Fernie. So I see no more. Sarah, should we take it for the vote?
Yeah. Secretary, Madam Secretary?
Sarah Clendenning?
Yes.
Ben Wadsworth?
Yes.
Chente?
Yes.
Fernanda, yes. Nancy?
Yes.
Benny?
Yes.
Didia?
Yes.
Joanna?
Yes.
Diana?
Yeah.
Annalie?
Yes.
Melanie? Victor?
Yes.
Diego?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Selena?
Yes.
And I'm going to go back to Melanie again. That is still 14 yeses and motion carries.
Okay, motion carried. Thank you, Fernanda. Okay, so next we'll move to item number 10, Programs and Services Committee. That would be Victor. 10A, update on the 17 streetlights out between Broadway, Griffin, and Daly and Avenue 28. Victor, did you get a chance to catch up with this one?
No, I haven't, unfortunately. I would have to get back on the next meeting or the next committee meeting.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Yes, yeah, we're just still trying to sort out these 17 streetlights out that were reported at the beginning of January. And it's been a month now, and very dangerous. So we'll get everybody. We'll
So
come
we'll
back.
say officially item 10A is going to be continued onto the next general board agenda.
Yeah, continue.
Real dark out.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, yeah, accidents, majorly dangerous. Okay. So 11, executive committee. So 11A, we're going to continue to the next agenda. And B, 11B, announcement of LHNC vacancies. Business rep 2025, business rep 2023, area 1 rep at large 2023, area 2 rep resident 2023, area 3 rep at large 2023, area 4 rep resident 2023, area 6 rep resident 2023, area 7 rep resident 2025. LHNC bylaws article 4 for stakeholder eligibility. And there's also a map. So Secretary Sanchez, do we have any applicants?
Yes, we received an application from Esmeralda Landeros.
Here, Vince, could you bring Esmeralda? Oh, there she is on attendee side. Bring
What
her-
is she applying for? I'm sorry.
She's an applicant for a vacant seat, so we're gonna bring her over. Vince, can you bring her over to the panelists, please?
Yeah, I brought her over.
Hey, Sarah, this is Jose. Just for the department's recommendation, as previously stated, any of the removed seats that took place in the December 16 meeting, just to hold off on filling those vacant seats. The rest, you're able to.
Okay, yeah, this is for a seat that was not part of that. I'm pretty sure. Okay.
Is there a reason why we should hold off on that?
Not on this one because this seat's not affected.
Okay, so
The other seats?
let's so the applicant Esmeralda has two Vince, can you continue? So as we know, yeah, applicants can speak for 2 minutes to talk to the board and the community to introduce themselves and make a statement. And then talk about the seat they're applying for. Yeah.
What seat is she applying for?
Well,
Area 7.
Area 7. Esmeralda?
Hi.
Hey.
My name's Esmeralda. I'm applying for Area 7 because there's a lot of people who live in their cars and their trailers in my part, and I want to help them. I want to do whatever I can to help them get back on their feet because I don't see it as like, oh, can they leave? Like, they're humans and they shouldn't be in those situations where they can't secure a home. And my part of the neighborhood's also being gentrified. There's 2 big apartment buildings being built, and I just want to give a voice to people here who are whose rents are being raised. Like ours is being raised every year by 4%, and it's slowly getting harder to be able to live here. So I just want to be a voice for people who's being affected by the changes in the economy. And yeah, I guess that's it. That's all I have to that's why I want to apply for the seat. I want to start helping people locally, maybe work my way up to if I can do any more, because everyone deserves to have home, like guaranteed shelter.
Thank you, Esmeralda.
So I'm gonna make the motion. So we have it going right now so we can open it up for board discussion and comment and in public. I'd like to make the motion right now to approve Esmeralda Landeros for area rep 7 seat, vacancy seat. Is there a second?
Second.
Diego seconds. Okay, Diego, you're up first.
Thank you. Esmeralda, I have a question. How long have you lived in Lincoln Heights? And did you go to school in Lincoln Heights as well?
Yeah, I lived in Rose Hills for most of my life. And then for the first couple of years, I lived in I don't know what the area is called, but my mom said she calls it Dogtown. And been living in Lincoln Heights since 2008. So I've always lived around in the area. And I did go to Lincoln for my freshman year. I planned on graduating from there, but I had to change schools because I had problems with some girls there. Otherwise, I would have graduated at Lincoln, but I graduated at ELAC.
Thank
Cool.
you.
Thank you.
Is there any other board member comments? I don't see any, Sarah. Oh, Benny, 1 second.
Yeah, Esmeralda, can you remind us like where Area 7 is, like the landmarks? Because off the top of my head, I'm not really sure. I'm trying to envision it, and especially what's concerning is those two developments that you talked about.
It's by the Goodwill and St. Vincent's thrift store. It's on San Fernando Road. It's also by the fire. It's like down the street from Smart and Final and the fire station.
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
Okay, I don't see any more from the board. Is there anybody in the public that wishes to make a comment on Esmeralda Landeros' election into the vacant seat? I don't see anybody in the public, but I do see Deanna. So Deanna will be the last one.
Hi Esmeralda, what's something that you're really passionate about right now? Like you said that you wanted to go like from like maybe if you get in the neighborhood council and then like up, like what do you envision?
Hopefully to secure like controlled rent and making sure there's if corporations or new businesses are trying to open up here, that it'll actually not contribute to the gentrification in the neighborhood and actually be valuable addition to the neighborhood. And maybe more outreach to the homeless. Setting up stuff for them. And I know like in a perfect world, we could like provide housing for them for free. But I know that so like yeah, like I heard some earlier about showers at Lincoln Park. Like that's a really good idea. And maybe giving them information, because I know there's a lot of like shelters where they can eat somewhere in the daytime, like if just like giving them all kinds of information that will help them get off the streets. And
That's a good one, Esmeralda.
we've seen a lot of vandalization too in these areas because of I think because they see people living on the street.
Thank you, Esmeralda. There's and then okay, hold on. We have one from Anna Lee. Anna Lee.
Yeah, hi, sorry. I just wanted to ask about if, you know, at prior meetings, I'm not sure if you've attended them or not, but we've given the opportunity on different committees for people that are not on the neighborhood council to get involved. So have you tried to do that and reach out to us to get on any of the committees, or would that be something that you'd be interested in also?
That's something I'd be interested in also. I haven't seen any other local committee stuff.
I guess kind of like where the question is like what like how did you come about to want to get involved in the neighborhood council? Like where was, if you knew to want to get involved with that, like what was your inspiration to do that? And if you wanted to get involved, kind of, like, this was the first step, but, and just kind of like where you're coming from in being like, hey, I want to get involved, I know that that I wanted to get involved before we ran. But anyways, so that's another story. But anyways, yeah, so.
It's mostly to help the homeless, but in a way where so they could stop doing street cleanings and like to throwing away their stuff, and then they just
Right. So I just was trying to find out like how, so like what kind of like made the fire, like how did you get to the point of wanting to join? You know what I mean? Like, was it just like seeing that happen, or did maybe it personally happen to you? And then how did you find out about the neighborhood council, or I don't know, you know what I mean?
Could we let her finish before interrupting her again?
I'm sorry.
No, like let you finish before like interrupting again your question.
Oh, okay. I follow the Instagram, and that's how I found out about this open position. The open seat. And it's just something I've seen because I pass by them a lot. And it's just upsetting to see them get their stuff thrown. And they're not like strangers, like they acknowledge you, they say hi to you when you pass by. So yeah, I guess I didn't know where I could start to help them.
Thank you, Esmeralda.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't mean to like be like, I just wanted to, get get like more of a feel, you know what I mean? Because I feel the same way. I know that there's like some homeless people around me, and I've seen them get, displaced from the swap meet and things like that. And, they're like, I bring them food and stuff at night when I get home from work, and when they get displaced, I feel the same way. So, I mean, we all cover, I just wanted to, get a backstory, just kind of get a feel, you know what I mean? Because we all kind of know each other, on some kind of not personal level, like, just when we ran we all know like what made us, when we all ran and we had town halls, we all like, we're like, hey, this is kind of, where like my heart's coming from. That's all, So, thank you so much.
Okay, we have Mr. Adam next.
I'd just like to say that I think she does understand the impact that the greater of businesses and government rules and regulations have played in our community and her community. I think that she would actually probably have a better interpretation of the impact economically than most of us. So, but I that's it for me for the rest of the night as well. I just want to say thank you all for what you're doing. You guys are doing good work here, and I want to keep it up. But thank you guys all, and I hope you guys have a great night. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Adams.
Take care.
Mr. Adams, we also have more openings on our board, if we're just saying out there. Thank you. Our next speaker is Pedro Ramirez.
Hi, Esmeralda. So I have just like, I guess it's a comment and a question. I think my first question would be, I guess that's a comment too, but like, I am someone who has been active in the neighborhood council for a while, and I can see day in and day out through these meetings, exactly the kind of sacrifice and the commitment that this takes. And I just want you to be aware that, if you choose to embark on this journey, that it's, something that you're hopefully really committed to, and that, your passion is strong enough to, have the resilience to be in there day in and day out, like these wonderful people are every single time that we have a meeting. And then the second thing that because, I kind of get the feeling that, from what you've said, that your biggest concern is the homelessness and the you know, the RVs and the people and the stuff. And like, you know, this is something that I'm really conflicted with, because it's like a double-edged sword, because I hate to see the people in my community suffering this way, and like them being thrown out of their houses and not being to afford housing and stuff like that. But at the same time, I have also been, you know, a victim of, you know, a multitude of crimes that have been committed from people in this situation. So it's a very conflicting thing, but it's like at the end of the day, right, we want our people to be able to have housing and stuff like that. But it's just like, my question to you is like, how would you go about and like dealing with these conflicting things when, you know, it's not all just, you know, people that are like down on their luck? There has also been a rise in like petty crimes and stuff in the community.
It would probably be time consuming, but I would do it as finding out what they need. They probably have mental health issues, and there might be addiction issues. I guess gathering resources where they can go for that help. So, because I know that's probably one thing that's a big thing getting in their way for being financially stable. That is gonna take a lot of work, but I want to do it because I want to help people.
Thank you, Esmeralda.
Thank you.
Okay, our next person is Diego.
Sorry, I know I already asked the question. I'll make it quick. I just wanted to thank Esmeralda for applying. It took me 10 years to apply to the neighborhood council. I wanted to apply in high school, and I was afraid to. So it takes guts and to you know, make that leap to advocate for your community. But I'm just really grateful that you're doing that today. And the only question I had, and just to echo, I think what Pedro said was, it is a commitment to be on the council. We meet twice a month. The meetings are hella long. And you know, we really need to make sure that all of our board members show up and you know, do their best. And that's not even including the committees that you likely will be a part of. So I guess my question to you is, what does your commitment look like going forward for the council? Will you be able to make that commitment to meet twice a month plus more as needed going forward for the rest of your term?
Yeah, at the moment I'm unemployed. I would only want to work part-time anyways. And I do hear your concerns. Like, I know it's not just about that, there's other responsibilities for this role. And I am taking that into consideration because I'm just tired of not doing anything about it. Wishing away capitalism isn't going to do anything. I need to get boots on the ground. But if there is a way, if like, you said something about these other stuff, like, oh my gosh, sorry, it's been a long day, I forgot the word. Those groups, committees, yeah. If you think I should start there instead, I just want to take action now.
Thank you, Esmeralda. But I think Esmeralda said it best. I mean, that line stay in everyone's head and you share it. I'd rather be doing this than nothing at home, because a lot of people choose to ignore the problem. And thank you, Esmeralda, because that's the first step forward to fixing the problems in the city. There are many more of us that have a better outlook on it than what's running the city of LA. And I often tell people, run, because if you can give me 1% more than what I have today, then we have advanced. And I think your statement just right now hit me with that. I'm like, yes. So we're off on a good start. Let's take it for the vote.
All right, Sarah,
Yes.
Ben Wadsworth, Chente,
Yes.
Fernanda, yes. Nancy,
Yes.
Benny,
Yes.
Didia,
Yes.
Joanna,
Yes.
Diana,
Yeah.
Annalie,
Yes.
Melanie,
Yes.
Victor,
Yes.
Diego,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes, absolutely.
Selena,
Yes.
and then one more time, Ben Wadsworth.
Yes.
All right, it's unanimous, motion carries.
Congratulations, Esmeralda.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I thought, I thought I was-
Welcome,
Esmeralda.
We're happy to have you.
Yay. All right. And so
Esmeralda, we'll make sure to get you a email out and then help you create an email so you can start on the board training.
Okay, I'll send you an email.
Yes. Yes.
wonderful. Okay, so now we will move on to item 12, non-agenda public comment. If there's any more public comment.
Excuse me.
Awesome.
Wow.
I don't.
Oh, wait, we have one. Pedro Ramirez.
Yes. Go ahead.
Hey,
Pedro.
I just want a big shout out to the community for coming together and helping out Lichas Flowers and all of those little mom and pop shops that were, going through what they were going through. It's a tough battle, and it's fucked up to say, sorry for my French, but it's fucked up how they're trying to like push them out and just, get rid of like literally the heart and soul of our community little by little. But through the efforts of the community, we were able to help them out at least financially for a little bit, and maybe that'll, stave them off. I mean, we know it's a long battle ahead, but I just wanted to give a shout out to the entire community for putting that together.
Thank you, Pedro.
Thank you, Pedro.
Yo, sign the petition. It's almost at 10,000.
Is it 10,000?
Almost, I think. Last time I checked, it's less than it needs less than 2,000. I even shared with my online friends.
Wow, incredible, incredible.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
All right. I know people are tired, and I want to thank everyone for attending today. So I'll make the motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Now, bye.
All opposed? Hold on, we gotta say opposed because maybe opposed. I don't hear any opposes, so congratulations. And we are definitely gonna try to work on cutting these meetings a little short, and we'll work in the executive committee. That's a promise to everybody.
Okay.
So meeting officially ends at 8:55.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye. Good night, everyone.
Bye, thank you.
Hey, Steve, I was looking at your photography thing. It looked really cool.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thanks a lot.
Uh-huh. But now